Welcome back! If we were to describe what the process is like when we just enter college, make new friends, meet colleagues at a new workplace, or just started joining a community group, we would say it's like auditioning. If you've done auditions, you'll probably agree. Tedious, nerve-wracking, and yet there's this huge desire and hope to get in and get the role. You're now officially auditioning for the friends role.
All right, I'm one of your co-hosts, Angela.
I'm Ha-eun.
And I'm Cindy. Time to get comfy, get out your snacks, and let's dive in.
Cindy, I really like your intro. You got some analogy there.
Exactly. So, since you get the analogy, how did your auditions for college go?
I have a great story and another analogy that goes along with that story called Don't Cry Over Spilled Milk. But I'm going to let you guys try to figure why that analogy that I just said worked with my story. I had these two close friends, let's call them Spinach and Tomato, early on in my college days.
Yes.
Right? We were working on this project that can fly us to Paris if we won the competition in Shanghai. We were all very eager and in the beginning worked with each other pretty well until it was time to choose an outfit for this competition. Mm-hmm. We just have to find something blue for all of us to wear. Well, anyways, one day, Tomato and Spinach were in a mall in a whole different city and found these perfect blue outfits for all of us to wear in their eyes while I was in Shanghai with my family. And so what they did is they video called me to show the outfit to me, and it didn't go well. So I was always self-conscious about my body shape, and my body shape is not the normal average size in China. Mm-hmm. And the outfits were based off of the normal size in China. So I would say a normal size in China would be a size 0 to a size 2, size 4.
So like you have curves.
Yeah. So of course, Spinach and Tomato fit in that scale where they can buy these clothes and can go into those shops. Whereas me, I can't. And they knew that. Previous times, Spinach and Tomato and we all went to shopping before, and they saw the difficulty of me buying clothes in China. Mm-hmm. So anyways, they found these outfits and they were persuading me to buy an outfit that they chose out for me. Now, although I really wanted to buy the outfit because they spent time trying to look for these outfits, because the outfits were just one size and I knew it couldn't fit me, I had to say no because I wasn't gonna spend $400 on an outfit that I can't wear, nor I can refund. Yeah.
$400?
$400.
Dang, okay.
Yeah.
And so, they did that without you there. Wow.
Yeah, they did it without me physically there.
So
they were showing it like they...
Yeah, this is all over phone call, right? Like a video call.
This is all over a video call, yes. And they showed it they tried to even convince me further by letting Tomato trying it out. And Tomato wore it. And Tomato was like, I could wear it. And I know you're like closest to my size. She even said that. And it was very shocking because I was like, what? No, I am not even close to your size. So if you can wear this outfit, I can definitely not wear this outfit.
Mm-hmm.
So in the end, we spent another 30 minutes of just bickering back and forth of them trying to convince me to buy an overly expensive outfit that I don't want. But in the end, I was able to stand firm on my ground and I said, no, I don't want to spend $400 on an outfit. I'm not there to try it out. So I don't feel comfortable doing that. So we ended the call of me not having to get the outfit. Later that night, I messaged Tomato privately stating how I feel throughout that conversation because I was closer to Tomato and I felt like I could get more real with her.
Mm-hmm.
And like I expected the behavior from Spinach of like persuading me to buy something that I couldn't physically wear, but I didn't expect Tomato to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wrote this like long paragraph to Tomato, just like pouring out my feelings because we
So
were
it was
very close.
so you felt they kind of betrayed because you were so close to her, right?
Yes. So the
Okay.
betrayal part, let me tell you the betrayal part. So turns out Tomato showed that message, my whole my heartfelt message to Spinach. And it made Spinach angry and started to convince Tomato how bad I was as a friend.
The whole time, like you weren't even there, right? You weren't
Yes,
even
I
there,
wasn't even there.
and they assume like, oh, we can decide in your behalf, and like our time is more important. They don't really think like, oh, $400 is not something easy for anyone to just spend
Yeah.
by video call, like see something from video call.
Because
So, do you guys understand that my analogy with the whole don't cry over spilled milk with the story?
yeah, I understand your analogy. Don't cry over spilled milk. It's like whatever is done, right? So whatever this event like led you guys to, which was, I'm guessing, like, did your friendship kind of, end well? Like, how did you guys make up? Like, what happened?
No, once Tomato betrayed me and showed that message, I was trying to um I was trying to text Tomato why she did that, but Tomato wouldn't even respond. And I think it's because Spinach on the other side was like trying to manipulate her in a way to not talk to me.
Yeah, because I remember you, because I met you, and I think I met you while this was happening, and I just remember you very, I think you were very heartbroken, and you were actually crying over the spilled milk, right? So at that point, I
Oh,
remember I was, because friendship is what you want, and you never want a friendship broken because it's someone that you really trusted. I think this goes with breakups in general, like love, relationships, but we're talking friendship here. And I do feel it because it's really painful when you go through that and you feel like you're alone because it's one person that you fully trusted, and this is like your friend. And yeah, I just remember that point when Angela was like pretty broken, and I could just feel the heartbreak, and I felt really sorry for her. And you always need someone, I think, to be there while you're going through this. Even though it's like a heartbreak of friends, it's really hard going through it alone.
so Han was like there when this all happened. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it kind of reminds me of when I was also in a similar situation,
Mm-hmm.
and I think being in the moment, it's like it's very hard. It's very hard to really just like, oh, don't cry over spilled milk. It's not that easy.
Yeah.
When you're in the moment, it's like you feel like the whole world is like teared apart. It's like everything you formed, all the friendships you have, this foundation, like Because I'm sure it wasn't easy, right? Spinach and tomato. Like, how long were you guys together?
I was with spinach for friendship, I guess, 2 years, and then tomato for sorry, tomato
It's Cindy's
for
accent that's getting to us.
Cindy's accent is catching up to me. Tomato for
Right,
a
it's
year.
tomato. Okay.
For a year.
For a
But like
year.
to be
Wow.
honest, I was I was basically, even though spinach and I had a longer relationship, didn't really feel so
That
open and
close.
free with
Mm,
spinach in terms of
that's
just speaking freely. But tomato and I was the closest. We hit it off like right off the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think especially like when you just enter college, like the first friends you make, that's
Very
very, very
important.
like impactful.
Yeah.
It's very hard to break away like when something like this happens. Right. Yeah, so my spilled milk was it happened with my childhood friend. The moment you break your friendship with your first friend, then it was very hard, but like I knew at the time I had to step away because I realized so there was like a new friend who joined our group, and like obviously I didn't really hit off with her. Like we were two very different people. We can talk much, but that friend really liked my best friend. Like she always tried to sneak, like snatch her away, whatever. But I mean, like I thought, my best friend and I, we were like childhood friends. We've been with each other since nursery. Literally, like we have like a fun,
Yeah.
yeah, kindergarten. So it's like, oh, I'm pretty open about it. I'm like, it's fine because we've been friends for forever. So I mean, I don't mind. Like, I know the other friend is finds my best friend better to speak with, better to head off with. So that's fine. But then I slowly realized, like, it sounds very childish when I share it now as a grown up, maybe.
Mhm.
But at the time, like, they had like sneak dates. Like, it used to be every
Oh,
Friday I would
sneaky
hang
play
out.
dates.
Yeah, sneaky play dates. So like every Friday I used to hang out with my best friend, and then like when that new friend joined us, we're like, okay, every Friday, all three of us then, and
Mhm.
then we would like go around each other's house. That was how we played back then. Like, okay, play dates is just play dates. But then I realized like there was one day like like I slowly felt the conversation we had um was more like they had like a conversation among themselves instead of including me, and that's when I felt very, very left out.
Mhm.
And I think just as Angie's story with tomato and spinach, like for me it was like the new friend was like spinach, and then tomato is like my best friend,
Mhm.
and having like someone you're very close with when they start doing the same thing as what the person you're not very close with, um, you feel super hurt because it's someone very close to you.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, so she started like having these conversations. Like they were even talking about a dream they both have. Like that was when it got ridiculous. So I tried to test them. Like that's who I am. I'm a bit of a detective. So there was one day I didn't arrive at the lunch place, but I was actually sneakily like looking behind the bar. I'm like I wanted to see what kind of reaction they had. And like, well, guess what? Like the spinach and the tomato was like, they actually were like looking like to see if I was there. And then the new friend was like, oh, like gave a sigh of relief and was like talking to my best friend. And
Wow.
so like I knew that was like, oh, that couldn't be more obvious. Like didn't want me there.
Yeah.
So I just walked off and joined another group of friends. Like they're not really friends. They're like my classmates. I've had like good conversations with, and I just joined them, and I'm very happy. Like they were very welcoming. They didn't even ask why. I just sat and sat with them. They were like they always accepted like people who come by. So yeah.
Your version of spinach could have manipulated or like talked bad stuff about you
It could be.
to change Tomato's opinion of you. And Tomato probably was sucked in by your version of spinach, like probably saying, hey, don't hang out with her, yada 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 yada.
Mm.
And that
It could
and
have
that
been. It could have
yeah.
been like that. But you know, I always, cause it's a little different in that, like my best friend tomato, like you know, if I was to use tomato, my best friend was someone I've been with for 13 years. Sorry, um, grade six minus nursery date. That's like 8 years. It felt like 13 years, okay, because it's like you don't
Mine
remember.
felt like eternity.
Right.
Exactly. So that's it. When like you've been friends for a long time, you feel like you know each other. I guess it's not even just friendship, like even relationships, you know, it's a similar, they say the same thing. It's like you've known that person forever. That's what you feel. And then they do something very not like them and they hurt your feelings. And that's
Yeah. You know what
good
people
enough.
say? It's like the worst kind of heartbreak that you can experience is from the person you love the most. So either it be a lover or your best friend. I think that, yeah, it really hurts. But I feel like this repetition of like manipulation and, being disappointed at those significant other person is like common. But I mean, you guys must have grown out of this, right? So like if you cry over spilled milk, you must have learned that you shouldn't tip over the glass. So like, you must have grown over time learning from this lesson,
Mm.
or we can call it lesson now that everything is, resolved. But like at that moment, it must be like your world must be crashing down. But like,
Especially as young, like I was very young, so it was very, very hard. But I got over it, and then because of that, facing that, you know, at an earlier age than, you know, Angela did later in college, when it's, I think in college it's like even more hurtful. You have like more words,
yeah.
more, and then you know manipulation is happening. Whereas like when I was younger, I have no idea. Maybe they just said something, whatever, but you know, it could have been just like we didn't match in our personality. But
Mhm.
like, because I experienced it earlier, so then later on, I think I've learned to like look at people who, you know, appreciate me for who I am, and then like we don't pretend as long. So I think it has helped me later on, and like the friendships that I made later on. Like I try to find more like truer people, people I match with, and all of that. Whereas like Angela was like pretty recent. So how do you feel, Angela?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this happened in 2019, it's 2021 now. So it's been 2 years already.
Mhm.
And I mean, with time, the feeling of like sadness does fade away. Like
Mm,
1 year ago, it would still be like a like topic that would make me, sad, and I would still think about that time. But now it's starting to fade. Like the details are starting to fade. Like just when I was telling you guys the story, it's really hard to recall the
Yeah.
um all the
exactly.
exact many details because
Yeah.
I'm starting to not let it get to me anymore and to close that chapter of my life and just move on. And like Cindy was saying, yes, it hurt like because I was old enough to know more relationship details, I guess.
Mm,
But I feel like now, especially in the workplace, and like I will be more careful in trying to make friends who accept the real me instead of me changing myself for them.
Yeah, I think because I remember while your Angela was going through this process, this friendship drama, this heartbreak, because it also happened to me right before she had the heartbreak, so I could totally relate to her. And I think like
yeah.
coming out of whatever we went through, I think I learned to kind of build a filter whenever I meet people. So it's kind of testing to see, not testing exactly, but like kind of defending myself in a way where I don't let myself fully 100% trust this person the first time I
Mm,
meet them. So it's like kind of a way of protecting myself. So I learn who I'm talking to, and I learn like if I
yeah.
want to be, closer to this person. So I think that's what really kind of, this is like a really important lesson that I learned from college. I think that's, and it always happens to one person. I think either be it in a college situation, or like Cindy in a sixth grade, whatever lifetime, I think it really impacts you, and it obviously stays because we all remember it, and it's one topic that we wanted to talk about for this episode. So yeah.
So would you say like it's like building a wall with a gate, and be very careful about how many keys to hand out to people to open that gate?
I think not that protective for me now. I've learned like I've learned to build a garden to welcome people and then
Yes,
see
yes,
how people
that's
act
more
in my garden.
poetic. Yeah. I was
That's
Oh,
more
thinking,
how people
like
how
what
people pick
I
your
think for
flowers.
you. Yeah, when people so it's like yeah, so as I said before, like because this happened to me earlier, so I mean over time, like for example now, like I've gotten over the fact like I used to, after like breaking up, if you can say, I would do like small comparisons with me and her and see like who's happier or whatever, like
oh,
that
yeah,
happens. You check up on them. You're like, are you
exactly.
happy now? You get that moment, like that phase. And then now I've reached a point where like, oh, both of us grew up. Like we're
Mhm.
now this is something we remember, but like each of us has now follow our own path, and like if you're happy, like whatever you're doing, and whatever I'm happy, then that's good. Um, and like you
We
you
all
grow away
blocked
from
from each other. So there's no
yes,
way for
you grow.
me to
Yeah.
even check.
So you see, that's what I mean. Like you're pretty recent. Like you have like all these like social media and all that stuff. Me was like it was literally friendship, like in the purest
Yeah.
form. And getting that broken portrayed, that was so heartbreaking. But now like getting over that, and then like me like as we get away, we get our new friends, and then new friends you learn to, yeah, it's just filter process as well. And then yeah, finding the people who you can talk to, but not always. It used to be like a war, as you say, but now it's like a garden.
Like looking back right now, I believe I probably did something wrong to them as well. Like I probably did some things that I regret, and it's all part of the learning process, of going through this emotion, like after time healing me, after time, you kind of heal from it, you think back, you regret or you forget. Either way, I think it's something we, grow out of it, you come out stronger. So I think that's,
Hmm.
yeah, an important
I
message.
completely agree on that point. Like, cause I'm always also very wary with the phrase like be true to yourself and everything,
Mhm.
because like sometimes it might be that you did something as well, like you did
Exactly.
something that might have hurt them, or you might have created misunderstanding because of the way you acted, which you could have been true to yourself, but it led to a lot of misunderstandings. So I completely agree. Like when this happens to you, when you're in a toxic relationship, and when you experience this kind of heartbreak, it's very hard to like reflect on yourself. But like over time, like these things happen. Like you can't say for a reason, but these happen in your life. um get the best thing you can do out of it is to like get a lesson out of it and become
Yeah.
a better person, improve yourself. So yeah, that was very good, Han. Very good point there.
Thank you.
Well,
No,
I
that's
think you became a better person, Cindy. Like my first impression of you, my first impression of Cindy was in reality show, and we were roommates for that summer. And
Yeah, really. Uh,
reality show, as in you guys were performing, right?
yeah, we were performing
yeah,
for this
we.
musical program that we did together.
Mhm. Two
Mhm.
theater kids here with an interview
Yeah.
right now. Okay.
Kind of. People interested in theater, and which college was the perfect time to explore, right? Yeah, so we were roommates. Yeah,
Yeah.
what was your impression about me, my fellow roommate?
I feel like our vibe was the same. We had a similar vibe. And by impression, like what do you mean? Just the standard good
You were
bad.
good. You were bad.
Goldia.
That's for
Like,
guy. That's for like
to
your
me,
partner to be, not
to
friends.
me, impressions are like, oh, you gave me a like warm, like you gave me a similar vibe that I have. We're gonna click well.
That's yeah, that's an impression. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, like yeah, we did have the same vibe. We both like K-drama. We were super lazy. We love food. um, what an awesome head off, like because we'd randomly like she randomly reached out to me. Maybe it's because she only knew about I don't know, like out of all our class cast members, she chose me. I'm like, okay,
Wow.
let's
You were the
try.
chosen one.
I know.
Cindy was the
Ah.
only one I knew really close,
Which she forgot that we had this
which
like
which
she knew
I
we were
forgot.
close for a reason.
Yeah,
She
we
knew
were
we were close
close
for a
for a
reason.
specific reason.
But for what? Like she forgot. So yeah, no, Chinese class. So my first impression was actually the official like first time we met. I remember like she was super she was very like cute confident. I don't know how to say like if that
Hmm.
helps, but like she had this very cute vibe because she tried to speak like very fluent Chinese, but like she had a very thick accent, but that's fine. But she was confident, like she gave it a try, and she
Yes,
she kept like
Angela.
clarifying with the teacher. So I had like a good impression of her.
Uh-huh.
And then like being roommates, that's a different kind of impression. That's like literally living in the same space.
Yeah.
Um, and that's when we realized like, oh wow, we really head off. But there was like one little aspect which was like, she was affected by spinach and tomato, being that picky. So bringing that back, I didn't know what happened after, but because it was in freshman year, I just realized like she changed a lot when she talked with them on the phone.
You saw
She
this
had that
one.
very
Only spinach. It was only spinach. That time I
yeah, when
didn't
she was
even need
speaking with
tomato.
spinach, Angela
Yeah.
completely changed, and I actually had an opinion, like like a complaint. I'm like, oh my god, she can talk on the call for hours with the spinach girl about spinach problems.
Oh.
It wasn't even about Angela. It was about the spinach problems. So yeah,
Yeah. It was all
that was my
revolved.
first impression.
My whole freshman life was revolving around spinach. Yes.
What a pity. What a pity. But you
Yeah,
know
what
what?
a pity. I
That's
think
on me.
yes, I think I saw Han on a TV screen because they were showing various students' pictures. I sound like a stalker now that I'm saying that out loud. But when Han, I just remember she had this really beautiful picture of her like looking, she had a flower crown or something, or like long wavy hair looking down. I don't know
Ah.
why that picture just stuck to me. It didn't even show her the face. It just
Yeah.
showed that picture and then her name, Han Yoon. I was like,
It
that
was
picture's really
my
pretty.
graduation photo for senior year.
Yeah, I was like, that photo stuck out to me. I was like, I want to find this girl
And be friends with her.
and be friends with her. Dude, it's so
So
weird. I
so so
legit
does that mean you reached out to her?
feeling. I
Wow, that
think
was a good.
I believe I did. I believe I did because I didn't even look at there's no face. It was just the name and the photo. But I was like, I'm gonna be friends with that girl.
Oh
So
my
weird.
gosh. I remember
Mm,
because that was my Facebook photo, right? So I just, submitted it because I had no other photos back then. Um,
mm.
but I don't remember my first impression with Angela. Like I can't pinpoint a time. That's the thing. It's so weird. I think I forgot. But not saying that it was like not important, but the thing is I met her through someone. I bet it's through someone. I actually like got to talk to you through someone. I don't know which friend, but and then as soon as I met her, we kept talking about like different topics. And then I really liked Angela. Like I don't know if you knew Angela, but like I really wanted to be friends with you. Like I remember like as a person who doesn't initiate, you know, going out with friends, I wanted to go out with you, like on a
Aww.
I want to, that's not a love thing. Like, as a
So
friend, I
cute.
wanted to get to know her, So yeah, and I was like, damn, I really like this girl. And then I really wanted to be friends with her. And after, all of this, after she was going through this heartbreak, I think we were going through microeconomics together. That really brought us together because we were stressing about this class and, getting going, trying to help her through, her drama. I think we bonded and now here we are.
Here
Yes.
we
I
are.
don't know. She was always so
Mhm.
bright. So she was like, I was like, dang, what a bright, positive person.
That's true,
It's so
and she
funny
still
you
is.
said you're that impression because I had no idea. I had no idea you wanted to be friends with me. Because at that time you were also in the beginning, you were also with your version of Tomato. And I thought, oh, she's busy and occupied with, but I was also occupied with my spinach.
Yeah,
So
exactly. We never knew. And then,
we could have started earlier, but both of us have our tomatoes
right?
and spinaches around.
Find your
Yeah,
tomatoes
guys,
and
audition for
spinach.
the wrong friends row. Bring that analogy back. If you remember from way back at the beginning of the episode.
Yes.
You could, yeah, you could have auditioned for each other friends row, but you had to be Tomato's friend and Spinach friend. Hey.
Yeah. We both think, I think we both had good auditions with one another. We were passing, So, yeah.
Mm,
I mean, and I remember Cindy, you were another story though. Like we only met recently, but I'm
that's
telling you, I think you and I have the fastest friendship ever because we got to get close in such a short amount of time that like it feels like I've seen you and I've known you for a long time. What do you think? Like,
um,
what was your first impression of me? I'm kind of curious.
um, so, I always knew Han, like, existed, if that makes sense.
Oh,
Um, no, um, I knew because like in freshman year everyone had to introduce themselves, whatever that whole process that you go through in orientation. I remember you mentioned your Instagram, like okay, I was curious, like the picture was very nice, as Angela says. I went to, it was like, hey, we have like a mutual friend, like, oh, I better like reach out to her because we had this one mutual friend which I knew back in middle school, so that was pretty cool. It felt like the world was very small when you have a common friend. But like I don't know what, maybe it's because we have like different major, different interests at the time, but like we always missed each other, like
mhm.
passed by, and we only met once during like it was about some like scholarship thing. That event, like very very short, like literally I just said hi to her at the stairs, and that
Mhm.
was it. But I remember seeing like first impression is like, oh, Han is very tall, just like me. um,
Yeah.
Another
yay! I
giraffe
found
in the
another.
house.
It's like yes, I found another fellow girl
Another
just like me,
graph.
just as
Yeah.
tall. um, and then this whole like, of course, everybody experienced like 2020 or the whole pandemic, and she was, I think she was one of the first international kids who was able to come back to our school,
Yeah.
arrive in Shanghai, and I just came across that actually on an Instagram story. I'm like, oh my God, Han is coming over. Like the first one of my, like, because there was a lot of international friends who weren't in Shanghai at the time, and now hearing about the first one of the first internationals to come back, I was super excited. I'm like, finally,
He
as
slid into my
I
DMs.
was very lonely because I decided to come back to Shanghai, and then it ended up being I was the only one who was able, like the international kid who was in Shanghai,
Right.
because I have family here, so I was very lucky. So hearing Han come, like, oh, definitely have to reach out. That long, long, long ago promise. Um, and then yeah, when she arrived, like immediately I think we just head off. We just caught up with each other and we're like, oh,
Yeah.
like like let's hang out and everything.
Yeah,
So
I think we were just both lonely because we had no one to talk to. So we were just like, let's go grab something, right? Like we made a promise. We were like, we should grab food together. And then
yeah,
I
and it
remember,
ended up being Angela bringing us together.
yeah, Angela
When I
brought
came
us
the
together.
next semester.
um, so
Yeah,
you see, like the two tally girls, like we're very similar. We make promises,
yeah,
and like in our hearts, we won't break them. It's
yeah.
just it just ends up like there's no deadline for it.
Mhm.
That's what happened.
Yeah, yeah.
um, yeah, but like my impression was always like like a very sweet girl who's also with a similar background as me, like an international school.
Mm.
Always wanted to reach out, and also someone tall. So
Same.
and
I remember
yeah,
I was like, my first impression of Cindy was the same. Like I think it's the same. Like we had mutual friend. We had a mutual friend. I knew you were an international student, and you seemed very nice as well. So I was like, why not? And a lot of people don't make new friends at junior year or senior year of college because you're
yeah.
graduating. But I don't know what came up to me. I just reached out. I was like, I need friends because none of them are here because of COVID.
And somehow we end up being very similar friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Truly
And
international kids from international student school who's been through that process, and then Angela somehow brought us together at a tea party. JK, not a tea party. It was a buffet. It was a buffet. Um, that buffet changed Han and I's relationship. Only because she was fangirling over one of the bands which we couldn't talk about. So Han
me,
and I
yeah,
just
I was with someone else. Yeah.
yeah. We had like another friend, and then both of you were like fangirling, and then Han and I were like, we don't know the group, so hi, how are you?
Anyways, at the end of the day, here we are. Our auditions with each other went great. So we're making this podcast. So yeah, similar things happen, but you always come out strong. You're always learned a lesson. So there was always a lesson to be learned. And just know that you're not alone in this, and your auditions will continue as you meet new people.
Yay! Well, I think that we had a great conversation today. Han did a great job wrapping this episode up, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Oh, and if you're curious about why we called ourselves Banana Corn, make sure to check out our bio. We might actually even do an episode on it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So this is us, Banana Corn signing off. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.